by G3. Can we see that? So if you move a what? A summation point this side to include another term, you must divide, let's see, divide by G3. Yeah, we divide it by G3 because now our signal, when it passes through, we feed it earlier. So it now picks G3 as it goes. So we divide by G1. In the same way, we are now picking it up at a point where the signal we are picking is a signal including G3. Are we together? Yes?
So in other words, if I move that point of H2, I must now multiply by G3 because then if I move it to where that was, H1 over G1.
Okay.
I have to multiply by that because it won't see.
Okay, listen to this. Let's call the signal at this point F. Okay? The signal here is F. So what are we picking at this point? We are now neglecting the... Okay, let's just call this H. Okay, it's H1 over what? Let's call it H. So our H is H1 over G1. Right? So what is the reading here? If I come to this point, what is my reading? F, H. That's my signal. Are we together? Suppose I pick it here. Let's see what signal we have here. And we want to make sure that whatever we do, by the time we are taking a reading, it must read what? F, H. Are we together? Right. This signal, when it passes through G3, it picks up G3. So it becomes what? F, G3. So if we pick it up here, and we have our H as usual, then the reading here, which is equivalent to that point, is what? F, G3, H. Is it the same as that?
No.
How can it be the same as this? Yes. So we compensate because we have picked up our signal where it's now including something which we don't need. So we compensate for that which we don't need. Is that okay? Which means by moving my pick up point from here to that point, I must divide by G3 to still maintain the same signal in my system. So I compensate, which means it now becomes G1, G3. And we have not changed anything. Now you have two signals starting at the same point, picking up at the same point, summing at the same summation. So what can we do? Simply add them together. Are we together? And then we just have one feedback. So we can now rewrite as only one feedback. And what is that feedback? H2 plus H1 over G1, G3. Then I remove that.
So if G2 is not showing there, it's because it was initially involved. I mean, how do you explain that?
Explain what?
If G2 is not part of the equation.
Which equation?
I mean, the output, whatever it is.
This one, yes.
Yeah, if it's not part of the, well, how do you explain it?
G2.
Yeah.
There's nothing to explain. We have just rewritten the system. When it was H, did it show up? It was not showing up. So that means the equivalent to that one still in the H, the G does not show up. It's not like it must show up, that's the thing. We are only compensating for something for which we have done, which we have what? Changed. We didn't change anything on G2. Like we didn't change anything on R.
So the initial problem there, it's like, sure.
You are just simplifying. You want to be. We had a complicated looking feedback system.
Yeah.
Now we want to come up with the equivalent
simple system.
Simple system.
Yeah.
So that you can now specify your input and output in a simple expression.
Yeah, because I heard that if ever you move your pickup point for a signal, you said.
So the movement, only things that are affected by that movement will come in the compensation. Did we do anything against G2? No. So only because what did we do? This point was here.
Yeah.
So it picked up G3. That had nothing to do with G2. So G2 will not appear in our expression. Similarly, we had something starting there, and the change introduced G1, so G1 is also introduced there.
Okay, so what you are saying...
So anything which is not...
What was not there initially, and then
compensate, let's simplify it.
Yeah.
If you look at a very complex system, it has many, many things.
Yeah.
Just compensate for anything which you have changed. Simple. If you are moving a pick point, and it now picks some signal which was not there, what do? Compensate for that. If you are moving a pick point and you are excluding a signal which was there, what do? Compensate for that again. Like, suppose I moved it from here and I brought it here.
Yeah.
That means now my output now is what? My feedback now is excluding these two, which are actually included in the actual. So what do? You compensate for the ones that you've excluded.
Multiplying.
So it's simple. Don't focus on what you have not done. You only focus on what you have done. So we didn't do anything against G2. So there's nothing to talk about.
Okay. No,
is that okay?
Not 100% okay. Maybe if you go further, it will be more clear. Because the way I'm getting initially the system had G2 okay.
It still has G2.
It has G2. And then you move your signal, and then you include G1 and G2.
I didn't include.
Yeah.
If you say include, it's like I'm just choosing, okay, I want to put G1 up. You are looking from a wrong end, which makes it difficult. I simply said, you compensate for anything which you either introduce or exclude, which was there in the original setup. So you make the equivalent the same as what you started with. You are trying not to change anything. For example, if you start with an H, now you take a reading and it's reading GH. That means you have